Everybody, thank you for joining us for another edition of our weekly real estate backstory. This is where we go over the comings and goings of things happening in the real estate world. My name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realtor and Rental Partners.
My name's Maine Richardson, the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And we'll start talking about a couple of interesting data that's been shared with us this past week. And we want to jump right into social media for a moment. And so Real Grader, which is which is a tech site, which, kind of like grades overall effectiveness. And they went out and examined 250,000 realtor agent profiles kind of thing. And overall, on a grade of 100, as an industry, we rate 30, which is pretty dismal out there kind of thing. And so what they say is that overall, the vast majority of realtors are lacking
branding.
Like any kind of branding. They're also incredibly inconsistent with how often they post on there. A lot of their websites have a lot of broken links, outdated info, a blog that was started 3 years ago, that kind of stuff, and missing information. Now, the other thing that they say is when it comes to being really effective out there, what are the most important sites for you to be listed on? Number one, which they ranked, which I found to be very interesting, is Google My Business. They ranked it above Facebook, which is number 2. So first is Google My Business.
Facebook.
Yep.
Instagram.
Number 3.
LinkedIn. Believe it or not, they jumped up.
Yeah. YouTube, which I figure would actually be a little bit higher than that. And then, Georgia MLS, Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, all those are in the top list. So we want to make sure that we're really getting our duckies in a row when it comes to how we're coming across out there on the social media side of things. Now to change gears into our listings. And so should listing descriptions be long or short? And I know a lot of realtors that kind of take the point of view of, less is more. We can just do it. And then also some folks also take the approach of like, it's the most boring listing description ever in the world, right? And so it's kind of like, it's a traditional, honey, stop the car, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really tell a story, do anything like that. And so BAM went out and started comparing listing descriptions. And what they found, and doing it through ChatGPT primarily, and what they found is that long, well-worded listing descriptions produce 71% more engagement, right? People will actually click on a listing 71% more often than some crappy little listing description. Like Megan and I, we've always worked really hard on it,
And gone a day, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, investor special, or fix and flip, or just saying you almost have to paint a story about this home, because if you don't, then it's a plain old house. It's not a home.
Yep. So I guess what we're saying is work on your listing descriptions right now, because it's a really good place for us to be. Like we can show a lot of value on there. So we also have a case where a broker, well, in this state, the broker is a realtor. I mean, in some states, brokers are realtors, but there was a court that found out in New Mexico, and they charged the broker with breach of reasonable care.
Reasonable care.
Because they recommended a vendor who ended up destroying the house and causing it to catch fire. So what really happened was they recommended a roofer that was not licensed, not insured, not bonded, and basically went in, caused problems, and ended up creating a fire. House burns down. And so these homeowners went off the recommendation of this broker / agent. And so we want to make sure that when we are doing referrals and recommendations, that you're being really smart about those. We also want to give more than one in a lot of instances. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself on there.
Always three. And if you have a
well-
list, make sure you do your due diligence and double check these folks actually are licensed and bonded.
Yeah, you want to make sure you give 3 for everything except for lenders and attorneys. Those are not required to give 3. I know it sounds weird, but that's true. So for what it's worth. Now, small businesses out there, there was a recent study where they said overall effective for small business, and they went with very small businesses, and medium-sized businesses, and they said, hey, what is the most effective offline media? And it all comes back to the same thing that we've been talking about for years, right? Referrals, word of mouth marketing. For us, it really does come down to, that referral business, that repeat business, that building of relationships. And while we see it for small business,
it's a trust because how many times as you mature in your journey in life that you've been burned multiple times.
Yeah.
And because you have a group of community that you trust, and therefore your word is going to count more than anybody else's.
Well, understand that for us, there's so many people that want to have their hand in our pocket about buy these leads, and really what it comes down to is it's relationship, it's word of mouth, it's referrals. That's where our business really does come from. So right now, so the Atlanta Fed went out and said, hey, what's the probability of buying right now? And it's reaching lower numbers. Our buyers are feeling very
discouraged.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it right now. And so, but we don't want them to be that way. There's still a lot of positives going on into our market. We have to make sure that we are talking about the positives of buying it. So NAR released, or I'm not sure released is the right word, but NAR announced the date. And so all the MLS changes need to happen by August 17th. So on one hand, we finally have a date. The other thing is we got 3 months to go. And so are there still a lot of unanswered questions about this?
Absolutely.
There are.
Anything can change between now and 3 months.
Yeah. So, but it does look like it's all going to be going through that kind of stuff. And so we are going to see some changes coming down the line. Please don't stress about these. Yes, we are going to make some fundamental shifts. A lot of these we're very supportive of. I'm really glad to see us starting to treat buyers the way we have sellers for years, that kind of stuff. So,
well, it's about informed buyer, and so they can make an informed decision, because at the end of the day, this is their investment.
Yeah. But a lot of folks, like as a realtor, if you are like, oh my gosh, this is going to change the world. This is going to change how, like at that point, it's on you, because realistically, like only 37% of clients have even heard about the lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Right? So 2/3 not even heard about it, kind of thing. Also, when it comes down, the other thing that was announced from NAR this week is like, who's going to be responsible for enforcing these the new rules? And it's going to come down to the MLSs. The MLSs will be the ones who, so if you show a property without a buyer brokerage agreement kind of thing, you can get kicked out of the MLS is where it's going to be working out. Now, looking at our numbers for, right now, so median prices are still up. We're running up about 4.5% right now. And that's a good strong number, but it's also moderate, right? It's where we really need to see it. Yeah.
It's sustainable.
Yeah. So pending sales, that's one that's hurting us. We know that pending sales are not where we want. Now, one interesting thing, even this past week, Lawrence Young, who's the economist for National Association of Realtors, he's like, listen, we got too much demand. We have a real rush coming, and a lot of it's tied to interest rates, and that they are coming down. So overall, new listings are still up. New listings of homes are up 9%. Overall, active listings for home are up 13%. Nationally, we're up closer to almost 40% here in Georgia.
And this is national numbers, so please keep in mind, real estate is local.
It is, but still, I mean, we have a lot of similarities on things. So now,
absolutely.
Now, one thing that is, we are similar here. 45% of pending sales are under contract in 2 weeks. What does that tell you? good properties
Pricing.
and priced right in good locations in good condition are selling quickly. Almost half of our listings are under contract in 2 weeks. And so if your listing isn't under contract in 2 weeks, there it's probably either price, condition, or something along those
Correct.
lines, right? Now, the other thing that I found really interesting was also the number of properties that had price reductions is so astronomically higher than normal right now. And so what we have is we have this big disconnect for a lot of our sellers out there. So our sellers think I can just throw a number out there and it's going to happen. That's not the market that we're in. Like we just want to try this price. We just want to throw this number out there. We think someone's going to pay for that. Look, make sure you're doing a comparative market analysis, showing what a buyer's willing to pay for their home. Let the data speak for itself because right now a lot of our sellers just have unrealistic expectations and they're having to make price reductions and sometimes pretty quickly. So what about inflation? Right. And so inflation has been definitely it's a dirty word right now. And so, so far in the 2020s, we're running about a 20% inflation rate. And you can see that puts us kind of, in par with where, a lot of other decades. We're actually higher than other than the 70s and 80s. We're one of the highest rates right now. And inflation is a really big deal. And inflation is one of the things that's causing our challenge with our interest rates. But also, we hear all this, especially lately, about home prices and realtors are causing home prices to inflate, that kind of stuff. Well, if you actually look at home price growth and inflation next to each other, well, guess what? There's a really close correlation here, right? So, like, it's not that we are making prices go up. It's that inflation is one of those things that's very real
And the
out
thing
there.
is, you can't expect the price of a gas to stay, when I started, $1.25. And now it's 3.50.
Way less. Yeah.
So you can't expect as we grow into the future that things will maintain constant. The only constant is
Change. There
change.
you go.
That's why Alan's favorite word.
All right. Now, very interesting dynamic this past week. So we got a weaker jobs report and economic data. So overall, job gains slowed down this past week, and I'll explain why this is important. In addition to job gains, unemployment rate went up. Now, in a normal world where you think, my goodness, jobs are slowing down, unemployment rate's going up, that's not good, right? Well, you would be wrong
Fed's
because
been pushing on
well,
this for
well,
a long
the
time.
Fed wants to see in order for inflation to come down, they want to see jobs slowing down. They want to see unemployment rate ticking up a little bit. And so the Fed got their wish this week. In return, guess what happened? Interest rates came down, right?
Yay.
We're glad to see interest rates. We spent about 5 weeks with interest rates running up, kind of thing. And so, the Fed is continuing to throw cold water onto the economy in hopes of slowing everything down. And it looks like it really is starting to do that. So we're starting to see interest rates coming down. A lot of folks are talking about where interest rates are going for the rest of the year.
Right.
We don't know. Like no one has a crystal ball. Should they go down? Yeah, it sure looks like they will. But we've been wrong before, and everybody else has too. So, overall, what we're seeing is our buyers are very, very susceptible to interest rates. So any interest rate
Sensitive.
changes, sensitive. That's a much better word. And so, because of this, interest mortgage application was up 2.5% this past week, just because interest rates started coming down. So we're really, really glad to see that moving. Now, overall, 84% of our homeowners say interest rates impacted their decision to buy a new home. Not just new construction, but to buy a home out there, kind of thing. And so we know that interest rates is a really big deal. Now, Lawrence Yun, several other big time economists are looking at where inflation is going, where interest rates are going, and they feel really, really strong about that. We're pleased to see that, but we know how painful that is, and that is a big deal for our buyers, especially right now. Now, the ones who get hit the most right now are our low income mortgage borrowers.
Yep.
Those are the folks who are having the hardest time because their buying power is going down. And then also,
Cost of living.
well, where did all those $200,000 houses go? They're all $300,000 now. And so
Right.
that's been the hardest one hit. And if you really do look at this, and I wanted to share this because I think we have to be realistic about what our first time buyers especially are going through. And so if you adjusted for inflation at age 25, what would the average income of our grandparents be? Around 75, $74,000. Our parents, us about 70,000, and kids 56. How much was college as a percentage of income? 13%, 70%, or 43%. And
For
then
the
and
kids.
then what's that do to home prices? Well, it was a 3x for our grandparents, a 4x for us, and a 7x for our kids. And so I'm not saying that, oh no, don't go buy homes. I don't mean that at all. But do we need to have some empathy? Do we need to understand what our first time buyers are going through? Do we need to find every single program and opportunity to save them money where we can?
Absolutely.
We really do. There's so many great things that we can do. I can't control interest rates, but there is a new 100% FHA loan program out there where they don't have to put down payment down on it. There are some things that we can do to help our buyers, but we have to make sure that we're showing our heart because it's tough on them streets, right? I mean that's really what it's coming
It
down to.
is. And affordability is the goal.
Yeah.
And wealth building.
Yep. So overall, what is the required income for the median home? Now, in the Atlanta area, the median sale price is 415. It's not that way everywhere, but for a $415,000 house, you need to make $108,000 a year as a family. Now, we're in the threes in Henry County, just kind of depending on where you are. That doesn't mean it's 108,000 for everywhere, but for
The
in the city of
average.
the average, and we need to understand that that's what's really going on even though there's all these challenges that we have, we know the interest rates are going on, all that. I did want to share with you, we get data on what's going on with our listings, right? And so you can see that, in March we had about 100 listings and we got about 7,000 views. And in April we had,
8,500.
we got, I mean, a jump of 1,500 views on our listings. So even though I know it's tough, even though I know that we have to show our heart out there, the demand for housing is really, really important. Please don't think that because there's challenges that there aren't folks who want to buy and sell homes. We have a lot of folks that really want to buy and sell homes. Please don't talk yourself out of really going out and engaging and taking care of your clients right now.
Absolutely.
All right. So now rents at the same time.
Declined.
8 months in a row. As a matter of fact, Atlanta is the fourth lowest amount or highest amount of
Decrease.
decrease. Thank you. I can't seem to speak kind of thing.
It's Monday.
But please, there are two numbers that I want to make sure stands out. So one is that overall rent change in multifamily is different than single family. Single family detached rents, we're not seeing those drop, right? So that's a really big deal out there. Those rents are not going down. So, overall, we're glad to see rents going down because that means that more people can save for their down payment. So this week, tomorrow we got our monthly sales meeting. Please come into all of our offices. We don't care. Just come on in, join us for that. And then on Wednesday we have Code of Ethics. That's going to be here in our McDonough office, and we hope that we can join us
teaching that one
for that as well. And so have a great week, everyone. If we can be of any sort of service, please call, text, smoke signals.
Get it all?
I don't know.
Well, happy Monday. Take care.